Hello everyone, are you ready for another adventure? It's me, Woki, and I'm back with another Fate Grand Order video, and today it's going to be another grind and talk. What's grind and talk? Well, it is exactly what it says. I need grinding. There's the Lilim Harlot event is about to be ending pretty soon, and so I'm just going to be doing a bunch of grinding and then talking about various things. Sometimes it's related to the game, sometimes it's related about whatever. Usually it's about what movies that I just most recently see, but whatever pops into my head, that's all there's going to be. And the video usually goes for about maybe 40 minutes to an hour. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so it might be a long one. And that's today's video. If that doesn't sound interesting to you, then congratulations, you can now leave, only wasting 40 seconds of your life. But for everyone else, I thank you very much for watching, and let's begin. So yeah, Lilim Harlot. I still need to do some of the extra finishing missions for this one, which I'll do after this. I'm really just trying to get all the things inside the event shop first, which is the main reason that I'm going to be grinding. As you can see here, I have just a bit of everything else to kind of go through, and then once I have all of that, I'm pretty good to, or I have close to everything there, I'll finish it off and do the last missions that I need to do. And we're going to be grinding on the plus one, which is the unfinished horse rebuilding plans. What's a team? Obviously, I have both Draco and I also have Tiamat. So what obviously am I going to be using for this? Well, the answer is obvious. We got, of course, here Super Bunyan and Arash. That's going to be the main team here. Now, I do have about 3 dudes on here, which is why Mash isn't on the team. Because then it would have been 4 dudes, but 2 of these dudes do not need any more bond. That is Koinskaya, and the other one is Oberon. But I'm really close to bond level 10 with Super Bunyan. By super close, I mean like about 200,000 away. And for Arash, I need about another 200,000 away, and that will give me another 30 Saint Quartz, and then I will upgrade his bond once again. And I'll probably do the same for Super Bunyan over here. So yeah, this is the basic team. I'll do a run-in with this right now just to show you what the team does. Super Bunyan, which by the way, mine is NP1, but it does have level 100, and then it's also 200. Why am I using Super Bunyan? Well, the answer is because I love Super Bunyan. Who doesn't love Super Bunyan besides the vast majority of people? But the cool thing about Super Bunyan is that Super Bunyan has the fastest NP in the game. So if you can find yourself in a node that only uses a single person, I'm also going to be using this because I'm not going to be using it anywhere else. If you can find yourself in a node that can be abused with single target attacking, then this is perfect because boom, you hit him once, you're done. This is the part where I wish she was at least NP2 because it would really help with this first giant ass snake. From this point on, there's no problem now with anything, so I'm just going to go here. I bring in my boy Arash. You'll also notice that I am using double of the 200%er craft essence. So you see right here, the reason is because this gives them 200% more power, and I need that additional power to take out these fucking dudes, which they are all going to be taken down right now. Boom, hit him with the Stella. Yep, no problems. He easily can handle that, no issues. And then we finally get to the final node here, where this is again where I really wish I could have had Bunyan at the very least, like NP2, so that I could actually take advantage to all the stuff that I'm giving her at the end here. But I don't have to worry about anything. This is like a decent sized boss. I'm never going to use any of these additional hits at all, because thanks to Oberon, I'm just going to be doing such insane amounts of damage, and boom, it's over. And yeah, that's the basic team setup, as you can see here. The only really, I guess, like, weird focal point is the first fight, which is against the giant snake, but it's really not that big of an issue, to be honest with you. And yeah, that's the team I've been using. And then in terms of the grind Cs, I only really need gold materials. No, I definitely need bronze. I only have bronze and silver drops, so that's kind of the Cs they have. That's why I'm able to use the 200% power ones and not have to feel bad about it or anything. But yeah, I love me Bunyan. It's I love Super Bunyan. I've been meaning to do, it's one of the very many videos that I've been put on the back burner for a very long time now, but I've been meaning to do a video on Super Bunyan, specifically talking about, funny enough, not anything to do with the attack, but actually all the lore surrounding Super Bunyan, because I find it very fascinating. See, this is the part where it looked like it could have potentially gone bad, but No worries here at all with Super Bunyan, thank God. Even with just a single quick card, thanks to that CE that she has, it's not too much of an issue. And if you're wondering why Raiko's in the back, it's because I like Summer Raiko. So she can be in the back, chilling, checking out on her child and watching Arash blow himself up, but safely away from the children. But yeah, I've been meaning to make that Super... If you want to know how long I've been working on that Super Bunyan video, it was before the big lore drop happened, where he finally revealed what was up with Super Bunyan. I had been gathering all these like hints and clues. The problem is that I was gathering them all up because I noticed right away that there was something like weird about Super Bunyan after like I noticed at first when I looked at their CE from back in the day, which was, I believe it's called The Great Mystery, and I was like, that's really weird. But then the problem that I always ran into was that I never found anyone actually talking about the mystery surrounding Super Bunyan. People were so unbelievably blinded by their hate of Super Bunyan that it made it impossible to try and solve the mystery that they had kind of set up for it. So I had been working on that video for better parts of many years. I've always been delaying it, but maybe before the end of this year I can actually try and release it now that I think enough time has passed and I don't think any more stuff is going to be revealed for it. But yeah, really casual time right now in FGO. The next event is not starting right when this one ends, if you're curious, by the way. It's going to be starting, it looks like mid-June, which is, they've announced, I think their Twitter campaign ends around like the 11th or the 10th, something like that. So, oh yeah, look at her get all these likes and subscribes and stuff. I know how that feels, Super Bunyan. You get addicted to the likes. Where's it go? No, I almost completely fucked that up. Almost completely messed up everything, but we're fine. So that means we're gonna be in a kind of like, I don't know if dead zone is the right word for it. We're definitely going to be in a period where it'd be a good idea to try and catch up on various things as we kind of just chill for the most part. Wait for the event to start, and then once the event starts, we're only going to be like a couple of, maybe 3 weeks away from anniversary. Because yeah, if it starts around the 10th to 11th, 3 weeks time is going to be just before the start of Anime Expo and the start of, I guess, the anniversary and everything like that. Crazy times, but I'm looking forward to it, and getting prepared for it. I'm working on the GSSR video. I'm working on the other video that I made sure to promise to do. I wonder, can Super Bunyan actually just kill with the Buster cards here and not need to do the Noble Phantasm? Close. Yes. You can, but it's much more fun to do. It's actually, I think, faster to do the Noble Phantasm. I might be wrong on that one, but it sure felt like it would be faster to do it with the Noble Phantasm. Alright, continue on. And I'm going to use these fruits because this is what I've been saving them for. So I may as well use them. They're all my stamina that I literally just save up. So yeah, very casual time as we are about to enter a very, very, very busy season for everything. Getting everything in order that I can think of. Getting my writing done as well to try and help out with the what I need to say for that GSSR video. And then go from there, because I'm going to be doing the super long ass one. Hopefully it's not as long this year as it is the previous. I do them every 2 times a year. One in the middle part of the year and then near the end of the year. But both times I try and put as much effort as I can into them to help people out. But I say help, but it's really more to like specifically talk it through. I actually don't know how helpful it is in the grand scheme of things, because I think for the most part what I do is not like tell you. No, I do tell you to go. I do the basic thing, which I think the most basic thing to do is to say what are the best things on here. Castoria if you need them, Oberon, stuff like that. Vitch if you're looking to do Buster support. If you're someone who's potentially interested in Quick, I would not suggest that for a beginner. you know, same song and dance. You do it I do it every year. That part I understand. The only thing I have to update is to talk about specific like off cases in case they're interested. Like for this year, bring up the off case of like, if you're a big fan of Draco, then obviously the only way you can get Draco is to do the other GSSR. Which I just remembered, that's right, that's another video I have to do. That's another one where I feel like weird picking, like, saying specifically to people, here's like the perfect set of dudes that you can technically do to say like, oh yeah, guarantee this one, at least you're always guaranteed to get one of the good SSRs. I think those are really up to... those are so hard to like talk about just because I think a lot of them are really based off of accounts and also the person in general. Because some people are like, I mean, to give an example, I'm not saying that the unit is bad or anything, but it's not a unit everyone would automatically, I think, pick for the Saber slot. But if you were to say, oh yeah, I'm going to go for Okita, that's my go-to. Probably should have done it the other way. It's fine. I forgot to, no, it's fine. I was like saying, I forgot to do the thingy there, but it doesn't actually matter because I have 2 Buster cards. She's gonna completely step this up, no problem. So if anything, I could probably save that for the final note, just to see if I can get the damage up a little bit higher. For no reason other than I like to see big numbers. But yeah, for that one, the best, again, I think the best that I can do is kind of just talk a whole bunch, and maybe when you hear someone else talk, you go, you've talked a pretty good amount. I think I'm gonna make my own decisions here. And I think that's the best way to probably handle it, is I think at the end of the day, it can't be me to tell you who does it. The best I can do is like offer like consolation. I'm like an ethical version of Paul Heyman when he was with the tribal chief Roman Reigns. I'm an ethical Paul Heyman, finally. He's been problematic for years, screwed over multiple ECW wrestlers, and finally, it's time. Okay. I'm gonna go here, 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 and hope and wonder if I can do a Noble Phantasm to do a big hit. Alright, let's see. She has a bunch of likes in her. This is probably the most likes I can do without accidentally killing her. Yeah! Almost 2 million. Almost a super sick 2 mil. Love to see it. I wish I had more copies of her. Like, for example, for me, even though I think in the alter ego pick, I do need to do a video saying, like, here, I need to figure out my specific, what my group is going to end up looking like. But Super Bunyan is definitely one that I would be like, I would love more copies, and I would definitely put her up as a potential for a GSSR. But other people who really don't like Super Bunyan, either because they don't like using alter egos, they don't like the character, they don't like various aspects of it, or whatever. In here, I was about to say like, oh, let me go back and do it. I don't need it with the Buster cards. But yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll do that one probably, since I don't have anything coming up for Fake Grand Order anytime soon. I could probably do that after the event ends. No problem. That's the video, the big video I'll do for the week. And then I have a bunch of other videos that I have to make sure to do as well. Hold up as I check for sound, because I could have swore I heard my cat wanting to go into the door. Nope, I don't hear him. We're fine. I'm hearing for Lucifer's call. But yeah, that's basically as far as this game goes. I've actually been chilling pretty hardcore with the game, just because I also need to catch up with the story, because I was reminding someone to say like, hey, by the way, we do get like 1,000 Saint Quartz if you're caught up to the story when we get to the 10th anniversary. So not this one, because we're on the 9th anniversary. The 10th one is when we get the 1,000 Saint Quartz. And I reminded them and said, you should really make sure that you're caught up with that. And they said, oh, thank you, I will. And then I realized I'm not caught up with that. I should listen to my own advice and go do that. So I have to go catch up with the story. I've also been meaning to do a bunch of the recordings related to the story as well, just because I did promise that guy. Someone asked me a long time ago, say like, hey, can you finish that? And I said, yes. So maybe that's another thing I can kind of work on when I'm going there. But I wonder if I would be better just to do a big old compilation of it and just do a big ass fucking drop of like, here you go. Here's the full 7-hour story. Enjoy. Get some more apples in. I mean, I say apples, but they say it's fruit. But I guess what else could it be? What is this mysterious apple-shaped fruit? The world may never know. Anyway, back to this. But yeah, other than that, I've been chilling a whole bunch. Well, not chilling is not the right word. I've been busy with fucking work, which work has been insanely busy for me, which has also made it very hard to do videos. But I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I need to set aside specific time to record the things I need to, because it's during the time that I think is most important. So I'll make sure to get all those done and also get them in on time, because time is the worst thing. This is the part where it's like, I understand why so many people who do YouTube kind of like end up doing, I don't know if quit their job is the right word, but I understand why a lot of people like stop doing their regular job and be like, I'm gonna fully dedicate myself to doing the YouTube stuff, because it can be a bunch of stuff that you need to do, like plan the full day around, record this, edit this, and especially if you're your own editor, which I think a lot of people are. Like, for example, there's no one that edits my videos. I'm doing the edits in a lot of the videos, and I think I'm an okay person to edit. The funny thing is that I think all my best edits for videos have been videos that I think the people on the Fate Grand Order side of the videos things I do, they wouldn't be interested to see, like the Frosty the Snowman, which was a dedication. It was like a Christmas special that I did with that I wrote with Zenrot, my good old buddy. That was like a follow-up to it was like an anniversary project, basically, of celebrating the old days when we used to do modcast. Because if you don't know, I don't anymore. I'm not heavily involved in the community like I was in the past, but I was a part of the Dokkan community for the Dokkan community for an extremely long period of time, and I was there for the very early instances of a lot of stuff. If you ever remember Impressive Ninja Skills, which was when Ninja Murasaki was around, and there was a meme going around because he was like the best to use with Super Vegito, and he was like on the Dokkan subreddit, which was I think the main place a lot of, at least the specific community that I found myself in. I wasn't someone who was really more in the Twitter side. I was more on the on that side. But Impressive Ninja Skills came from the first modcast episode where we kept bringing up Ninja Murasaki, and then I put him on the SSR tier list because even though he was an R, he was better than a lot of the SSRs and more usable because he had a single function, which was be on Super Vegeta's team and literally cover up his weakness. And that ruined the SSR tier list as well, because eventually people started asking, saying like, oh, you should put General Blue on it, and it was like, General Blue, just because he has such insane stuns, which is like, yeah, that's true, but it's not. You've missed the point as to why Ninja Murasaki was put on. Like, General Blue is more of an off-meta pick. General Blue is like playing stun in Yu-Gi-Oh! This is technically meta viable, but also it is not so good that it is your main way of like, it's never on the meta pie chart. It's always an off-meta choice, or I guess a meta call if you want to be a more fancy pro version, because you can definitely win with stun. I don't know, could you win? What was actually, I think the last time stun won a YCS was when Mystic Mind was legal. So maybe stun can't win unless they go on an insane run. There was actually a video a little while ago that was talking about there's this guy who does, I think, like Yu-Gi-Oh history videos is the best way I can do them. He did one most recently where he talked about a guy who was able to win a YCS during a very like, I wish I remember what format it was. It was during a very damn it, I'm gonna have to look this up because it's annoying me. But the point is that he was able to win with TG Hyper Stun. So it was not even a max potentialed out version of TG Hyper Stun either. It was a oh shit. One moment. Okay, I'm back after a soft reset of the universe. Let me first see and make sure that I can kill with this before I actually say for sure that this is where we're gonna land on the timeline. I should have been paying more attention, but I was so focused in on talking about... There we go, okay. Alright, so back, what was I talking about? So yes, it was TG Hyperstun, and it was during Dino Rabbit format, and it was also during wind-ups. So it was a very much a... it's hard to imagine anyone winning during this format with the specific deck that he brought that was, one, unoptimized, and two, somehow was able to win the entire damn thing. And also, he was a very brand new player. Like, he did not know that he was about to be in a YCS. If you want to go check out the video, it's done by Squiddies. He does a very good job of, like, they're about, I think most of his Yu-Gi-Oh videos are about like 20 minutes in length, but he does a pretty good job like explaining it. And the story of that happening has always been interesting, because I've always heard from people who were playing at the time, and I've always seen it whenever like the list gets brought up in terms of like, this won a YCS. It's always like, how? It's not, the reason it wasn't running like the best setups and stuff like that is because he literally, like, he couldn't afford it. He was a fucking kid. He was a teen of some kind. Of course he's not going to be able to afford like everything that he needs. It was definitely like in, I guess, before like TCG Player, kind of like, no, the funny thing is that I say this and say like, oh yeah, TCG Player and other sites like it make it so much easier to buy singles and stuff like that. But even when I go to locals to play Hololive and stuff like that, I do run into people who are just like running with cards that they have like on hand for the most part. It's like, yeah, the best example is when we went to a tourney where specifically cards from this set were legal, and they I don't think they used very many of them. They were like running set 1 stuff basically, and not a lot of the new set, because they were technically legal just because they got new cards in there, but they weren't actually running like a full-on deck from there. And I think we asked him like why, and he said it's because I didn't buy much of the new set. I was going for the Mori cards and getting the signed Mori cards, so I bought like an insane amount of the first set and nothing else. And we are like, okay. Well, unfortunately he lost pretty badly in that instance, but it's a dedication to it all. I'm going to use this for safety now, even though I think with only 1 buster card I should be able to make it no problem. And he definitely wasn't like going out buying singles, because in that case it was definitely a case of like, okay, well, even if you did do that, it was probably just as cheap to go buy some single cards and kind of go in with that. So there are still players that definitely do it. And there was another one who's not an extreme example of that, but I think I asked him like, why don't so you're running Pecora, but he didn't have any of the new Pecora cards, so it was actually old Pecora. And then I ended up losing to him, which I think, now that I think about it, I feel like a perfect losing streak against Pecora decks. Or pretty close to it. I think the only ones I've been able to beat were my brother, and it was really during testing. During actual tournaments, I don't think I've ever actually been able to beat his Pecora deck. Damn, that's a fucking blind spot. But the reason is because I typically play Polka, and she needs it's really rough when you have 5 life and you have dudes that constantly die and you're going against someone with 6 life. It comes close every time though, I want to say, or pretty close to it, I'd say, where it's like, oh, if I maybe played a little bit better or things had gone a little bit more lucky on my side, it wouldn't have worked out so badly. But anyway, that's a really good video. How the fuck did I even get into this combo? I don't remember anymore. Off meta picks when you're picking GSSR is, I think, how I got on there. Point is, you should try and go for what you believe in your heart is the right way to go. And the best thing you can do is, I like to see it as talking to a friend. And when you talk to your friend, you don't have to listen to what your friend says all the time. You just kind of go with, if you feel like, all right, good enough advice, I'll go with it. That's what I think the role I play for the most part. But yeah, things are chill. Okay, yeah, I remember talking about things are chill. No, they're not chill. I was busy with work. I actually got off of work today. I need to stop saying things are chill when I'm not constantly being like fucking bombarded with work. That's not chill. It's the opposite of chill. But the problem is that I usually like push it out of my head immediately to protect my brain. But in the few times I've had some time off, I did try and get some other stuff done. I've been playing another game, which is Mina the Hollower, which is the game that's the follow-up to... Oh no, follow-up is not the right word. It's the next game they decided to make after Shovel Knight, which is Yacht Club Games. I absolutely love Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight plays like how I remember playing NES Mega Man games, while also acknowledging that they are nothing like how NES Mega Man games played. It just kind of reminds me of them, while not actually playing 100% like them and having some more modern modern day advancements in the gameplay to make it like not as crazy fucking stupid difficult like original Mega Man is. Still pretty tough though, but I feel like a lot of the difficulty is more like it's your decision to make it harder for make your life harder for you. Which, funny enough, in this new game, I feel like that's my experience with it is like, damn, they're pretty tough, but I never felt like it was unreasonably tough. You know what I mean? Which is funny because nowadays when it's not 100% like it, just because it's the game most people bring up whenever they're talking about like, oh, something that's really hard and you die a bunch, is usually like a Souls game, but I don't really feel like it's fully there. The reason is that I don't know, there's something about it that just doesn't feel Souls-like, even though you have a literal flask that you drink. But I think the main difference is that I can't remember if this mechanic is in other Souls games, because I honestly can't remember. But in the game here, which took me a while to kind of get used to, you have to actually hit the enemy and get like life back in order to actually heal from your flask. So if you take damage and then you go to heal with your flask, you don't get anything back because you have not hit them enough. So you have to make sure you actually hit them, so it ends up making all the battles feel pretty crazy. But because it has that mechanic, the bosses, I feel like for the most part, that from what I've dealt with, don't have like the Dark Souls kind of like feel to the bosses, where they kind of hit you with something out of nowhere and you go like, all right, didn't expect that, I guess I lose. Doesn't feel that way to me, at least so far. It does remind me a little bit more of, like, in terms of difficulty, it reminds me of the Legend of Zelda Game Boy Color games, which is a very heavy inspiration for the games. I've been playing that on my off whenever I had like basically some free time. So like a little bit on Saturday, a little bit when it released, and I was hoping to play it a little bit today, but I had to get some other stuff kind of in order before I did that. So there's that. I've been going out on walks a little bit more, which has been nice to kind of leave the house. I have been doing close to 0 walks, and some days I feel like I can maybe do, which is not good, by the way. You should try and get up and moving, but because I work from home, there's nowhere for me to like walk to. So on some days I could maybe, if I don't like force myself to go out there somewhere, do very little walking in a given day, and that's very bad for you. So I've been getting a little bit more walks in and getting more things in, trying to build up the past tolerance that I had for walking, I guess is the right way of saying it. And you know, it's a journey. It takes a while, but I think I'll get there eventually. That's been nice. I think my eventual end goal is to eventually one day walk to my AMC that I go to for a movie, go watch a movie, and then probably get an Uber home. Because by the time I get to the AMC and watch a movie, it will be like 9 p.m. So I'm not about to walk 9 p.m. for an hour straight. It would probably be, it would not be advisable late at night to go walking like that. I would probably ask for a ride home, not an Uber, but like ask my sister or something like, hey, I walked all the way over here. Would you mind picking me up and dropping me off? It's like 15 minutes away. She would go like, oh yeah, sure. At least I hope she would. So yeah, been doing a lot of that. Gonna be slowly improving in that as well, getting there. And then in terms of what else I've been doing, let's see, I've been watching a lot of movies, which has been, oh, what a great time to be watching movies. It's time to pull up the old letterbox. That's right, Wokie's letterbox, and you can find linked in the description down below if you want to see what I feel about movies at any given time. And see what the fuck I watch too, because I think I end up watching a decent bit of, like, I don't know, weird is not the right word, but I at least try and watch different things. I think the only thing I don't watch that much of is romance movies, mainly because none really kind of like jump out at me, but I do like, I guess, romance in general. I don't know, I'm you know what, I've never actually thought to sit down and talk about this. All right, let's see. We got my watched based off of not release date. I want to go by when added, newest first. Okay. Let me start this up again, and then I'll just use bronze for this one so I can get to 140. There we go. Go here. Okay. Let's see, when was the last time I probably stopped talking? I do remember talking a bunch about... I don't think I remember if I talked about Skinamarink. In fact, I know this was the last one I didn't talk about, which is a movie called In the Dark. So I've been watching a lot of horror movies, a lot of them being very weird ones. I guess Skinamarink is one of the ones I don't think I talked about it in a video, but I talked about it with my brother about it a bunch, because he's also watched it. Very, 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 very... I think this is one of the very few movies I just straight up didn't rate anything about them, just because it was hard for me to actually put into terms what a rating for a movie would be. But I think that movie is excellently well done, and I don't think I could ever really watch it again, at least not for a while. And I think I promised my brother if it ever came to theaters, we would go to the theaters to go see it. That's like the one time I'll be like, okay, because I need to see how fucked up this movie is going to be in when there's a bigger screen in front of you. It's definitely more like, it's not like jump scare horror, which I'm finding that a lot of people apparently think of movies only in terms of jump scare movies. It's not one of those. It's horror. It comes from things that like dig into your brain and stuff like that. But I watched In the Dark, which is a 2000s movie that you can find on YouTube. I guess I would say it's probably rated R. There is some nudity. There is also some extreme things in it. It's very grainy. It's the reason I looked it up because it was like a part of a genre that was like shot on a VHS camera. I was kind of interested in that aesthetic, especially with Backrooms coming out pretty soon, so I brought that up as something to see. I watched it. I ended up thinking it was pretty good. I thought it was like... I think the funny thing is that the one thing that kind of holds it back is really the thing that is also like its main kind of driving force, to be honest with you. Like, the look of it is so hard to put into words. It like has a very like big look to it. I think it has a lot of interesting themes going on in it. It's made very cheaply. It was very like not that much money was put into it. It has a lot of cool things going on in it. A character plays the video game Silent Hill for an extremely long period of time as they wait for someone, which is maybe the funniest thing ever. There's a part where the main MC is trying to go like to safety, and she goes to spend the night at someone else's house, and the thing that she brings with her is her PS1 so she can play Silent Hill. Which was like real. I've never seen such a realistic protagonist in this day and age. So crazy. So I watched that. The other thing I watched, because it got brought up a whole bunch in my buddy's podcast that he does, which I guess I can promote it just because I've been going through it for the most. Give me a sec. Let's I pause. Then a Nation. That was the name of his podcast. That's what I was currently going to look up. I've been going through it. Really well done, very well researched. It's definitely like a deep dive into a lot of movies while also going into like some background stuff about it, and then also going about their thoughts and feelings about it. But they were bringing up a whole buttload of times West Side Story, and for the longest time, which is the Steven Spielberg version, not the original one. And for the longest time I was avoiding it because I really like West Side Story. It is a part of my pantheon of it has a certain amount of characters that I accept them for. West Side Story is very tough because it is a story that is basically, if you've never seen it, it is a musical about like the Jets versus forget the name of the other side, because I want to say versus the Puerto Ricans, because that's what they are. But it's basically two gangs, one of them Puerto Rican, the other one I believe is mostly probably aroundish Irish or so, fighting for basically the area inside. And then it's very similar to Romeo and Juliet and stuff like that. And that original version, not every single member that was like the main, there is a couple, there's at least one woman I can know that was at least Puerto Rican, I believe, but for the most part they were like Greeks. But I think it's a very well done story that also is a very like one of the few times that the idea of like immigration and stuff like that kind of gets addressed in the movie. So I kind of digged it for that reason alone, and I thought I gave them some leeway. The only leeway I don't give is casting Natalie Wood, and the reason is because her character's not cool, so I don't really like her all that much. So I don't give her the pass, but I give a pass to the actor who plays her brother and stuff like that. Point is, I really like West Side Story. So when they announced that Spielberg was making a remake of it, it was like I know Spielberg is really good, but I also don't I don't know, even with him doing it, I don't know if I want to see a specific remake of it, especially because I also think that I gave a lot of leeway to West Side Story because of the time it was filming at, but now that it's a modern times, I don't know if I can give that same leeway to a new version set at that time. And he does an amazing job. I think it's actually probably better than the original version, which is, I almost feels like blasphemy to say, but he just does such a fucking amazing job with it. There are still also some problematic elements in terms of some casting choices and stuff like that. They weren't able to get the full Puerto Ricans of every single one of them, and plus there's also a casting of a specific dude that has been accused of some stuff, so that was a little bit wary while watching it. But I think it's an absolutely amazing well done job in there. It really pays a lot of homage to that original movie, and it's really fucking good for that reason alone. And then after that, I went to go see Obsession in theaters, which is the new big horror movie, one of two big horror movies currently killing it in the box office right now, to the point where they canceled the digital release that was about to happen for it. I don't think you need me to say much about Obsession. I fucking dig the shit out of it. I gave West Side Story a 5-star. I also give Obsession a 5-star. I think it is, both of them fucking knocked it out of the park. Obsession is just so fucking good. You should just go see it. I don't even really want to talk about it a whole bunch, just because I think that if you don't know about it, then you should not hear it from me. You should actually just go fucking watch the movie. But I think it exceeds in basically every kind of regards, and I'm going to be very interested to see what that guy does next. Common, friend of the channel who has been in previous videos, told me about, because I didn't know that they were, I knew that they were a YouTuber, but I had never seen any of their YouTube content at all. But he was like, you need to get on them because I think they're really good. And I was like, okay, maybe sometime later I'll go find them and track them down and see them and see what's going on there. But yeah, Obsession, fantastic. Go check it out. I really fucking loved it. I thought it was amazing. And then next, we talk about amazing. I watched, in the order that of release, of course, Jackass the movie, Jackass number 2, Jackass 2.5, Jackass 3D, Jackass 3.5, and Jackass Forever and Jackass 4.5. And the reason is because there's a new Jackass movie, and I'm a big fan of Jackass. I think Jackass, and this is gonna probably make a lot of people who are like hoity-toity about movies, but I think that the Jackass movies are as close to high art of performance art that you can get in movie form. And the reason that people don't like to admit it is because they laugh while they're doing their performance art, from which most performance art is done in complete solidarity and with like no emotion showed, as they go like, oh yes, let me see how I feel about this. But then I would say the best Jackass stunts feel kind of like high performance art. It's just that someone's laughing and usually going, Steve-O got hit by the poo-poo, and that's the reason why they can't really get into it. But I love the Jackass films. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm not afraid to take a stand. I'm not afraid to admit when shit is peak. And I love the Jackass movies. Jackass 1, I also watched the entire TV show for Jackass as well. So yeah, Jackass the movie, Jackass number 2. Out of the ones I think are the best, I think it's probably Jackass number 2. I think Jackass number 2, the first Jackass movie is like the actual season finale for the TV show. So in a lot of ways, what it feels like is actually just like the TV show, but with like no restraints given to them at all. But they're still in the scope of like what would happen on TV. Then you get the Jackass number 2, and then they're like, well, we can put this on the big screen. And that's when they start going crazy, and that's when they start doing a lot of like cool shit, start doing like wacky things. It doesn't ever hit to the highest degree. I think there's still some stuff. The problem I have, Jackass 2 for me is as close to a 5-star that you can get, but the problem is that all of the old people bits are the worst parts of Jackass that I hate, and this movie has the worst old people bits of all the movies. And the other ones are at least tolerable to okay, but in specifically Jackass number 2, the old people bits that they do are some of the worst, like unfunniest things to be. I can't explain it. I don't know why Johnny Knoxville loves doing this shit so much. Actually, I do know, because he said outright, he said the reason is because he's able to mess with people without them knowing who he is. And I think, you know what, fair enough, but that does not mean that I have to like it for that reason as well. And then the other one is actually, believe it or not, one of the 0.5s, which is Jackass 3.5, which captures the one of the greatest drop kicks in cinema history. It's just an insane, one of the greatest drop kicks ever delivered is hit to Bam Margera's head. You see it coming out of nowhere. They catch it in slow motion. It's absolutely amazing, to the point where I'm almost gonna fuck this up. No, okay, I did perfect. I think it's that one. It's Jackass 3.5. And then I think if I was gonna do another one, it would probably be Jackass Forever. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of things holding it back. It was right around the time that COVID hit, so they have to deal with like a lot of COVID restrictions. And then there was also the falling out with Bam Margera, which kind of leaves this like weird empty feeling throughout the movie, which is a shame because I think a lot of the new cast do really well, but I just feel like they also don't use certain people of it as much as they could, and I think it's probably because of those restrictions that they had in place. There's also just an insane amount of like penis trauma throughout the entire movie. It is insane. You like literally see someone lose their ball in that movie. Like, I've never seen a penis so beat up as watching Jackass Forever, and then you actually see someone lose a testicle. It's astounding stuff. Again, high art here. High beautiful art. And then I did also watch 2 Betty Boop shorts, but that was basically to try and see if my Blu-ray player that I got with my brother, if it was working out for us, and it was. So I watched 2 of them, and I enjoyed them. Not really anything that I can really rate, just because they were very old black and white cartoons, so it was really more just like, oh, let me just enjoy these for what they are for the time being. I think when they get into color is when it's more appropriate to start like seeing them as something higher. But anyway, then I saw Backrooms, which I really enjoyed. Backrooms, unfortunately the theater wasn't the greatest in terms of the audience, because I don't want to blame it all on the young people, but there definitely was like young people sitting next to my sister who could not handle the movie. Like they were literally like freaking the fuck out. Like by the end of it, they were like literally like going and putting their hands up like the fucking dude in the train who runs away in the Civilization menu. There was that. They were really bad. And then there was a guy who just started randomly fucking vaping. I don't think he did a full vape, because I think he did like one smoke cloud, and then I think someone told him, can you fucking cut that shit out? And he never did it again. But still, it was not the greatest of anything, but it didn't hamper the movie too much for me. I really liked it. I thought it was extremely well done, especially from a very young director. It makes me curious to see what more is going to be kind of come from it. Because they do a really good job of like just feeling like the Backrooms and stuff like that. Now, the thing that I also was kind of curious is to see, like, it was so weird because this movie is doing such insane like box office numbers, because obviously a lot of people are excited for it, but it got so crazy big. It's attracting people who probably had no idea what the Backrooms is and the style of horror. Like they're expecting like a big jump scare one, and it's just not one of those type of movies. It's definitely to be fair, the Backrooms has never really been one of those type of movies to me. Not movies, but series. It's kind of like one of the, it's more closer to like psychological to me than anything else. So I really enjoyed it. I kind of would like to see it again at some point, I think, just because I think there's a lot of stuff that was probably missing. And I also like that they did full practical sets for it, which are absolutely amazing. And then finally, the last movie that I've seen, which is I think the one I watched last night, which is after my string of everything. It's actually, funny enough, it is another musical. I watched The Greatest Showman. I don't know why. I don't remember why I started watching it. I had been avoiding it just because I am actually someone who is fascinated. No, I wouldn't say fan. I would say I'm fascinated by P.T. Barnum, just because of how insanely carny this man was. And I had heard that the musical kind of like shaves away a lot of the interesting parts about him and presents him more as like a scoundrel than a actual like ruthless crazy businessman that he was, a carny basically. And when I watched it, I basically felt the same way, of like, I can't believe that they are putting this many lies into a movie. But because I guess the musical trappings of it, it never says like outright that it's a real world. It's very fantastical and stuff like that. Maybe that's one way of getting rid of it. And I did end up enjoying it just because the music itself is just so fucking good, and Hugh Jackman just like in full like showbiz mode is like wonderful to see. So even though I was like in the back of my head, I should hate this in every kind of like fiber of my being, I really can't bring myself to hate it. I just kind of enjoyed it, and I was like, okay, you know what? A lot of this movie is bullshit, but I also don't think that the movie is ever trying to purposely say that we're telling the truth here. It's really more the idea of P.T. Barnum in a like vacuum than actual P.T. Barnum. Similar to how Ed Wood is not really about Ed Wood. Ed Wood is really more about like the idea of Ed Wood, of someone like making movies and being able to make what he believes to be the movies that he's always envisioned in his head, and doing it with a motley crew of friends, of freaks and stuff like that. You know, people who have not really are seen by the public view as anything but like miscreants and stuff like that. And I think there's a very powerfulness to that message. And I feel like Greatest Showman has a similar message. The difference is that I feel Ed Wood is a lot more subdued and more realistic, even though they also take huge liberties. Because obviously Ed Wood in real life was also kind of like much more complicated than what they depict in the movie, and had a lot more prickly parts to them. And yeah, point is, I love Ed Wood. Ed Wood is like one of my favorite movies. This one Still really good. Never reaches that Ed Wood part where I'm like able to kind of push it away. It's a lot more heavy-handed. It's more in your face about like, it's like a power anthem. It's like one of those songs where you're just like, yeah, I am gonna make a difference. Those people who disobeyed, who didn't believe in me, fuck them. It's kind of one of those instances where it's not really like that in Ed Wood. It's kind of like the underlying message, but the underdogs still kind of lose in Ed Wood, as opposed to here where the underdogs do win, where I don't know. It is what it is on that. But yeah, that's about it for the movie corner. So let's go check out and see how this came along. We have been recording for a decent bit here, so let's go here and see what's left. Come on. Get some of these. Get some of this. Get some of this. This and that. Get that. This and that. Right. This and that. Oh, am I gonna have it all? Pretty close to it. Alright. I think I'm at... Go here. Go here. Ooh, okay. Damn, I really have all these pretty soon. Okay, there's a little bit of those left. In terms of these, still a lot to kind of go through still. Let me click this. I'll go deep with that afterwards, but that's a good place to end it right here. Thank you everyone for watching the Grind and Talk. I appreciate it, especially if you made it all the way to the end. Some actual videos will be coming up eventually as I talk more about it. I also have a lot of other videos to do. I still need to do the edited version of Shonen Archive, which I have not forgotten. I just need to find the time to go do it. Damn my work for being so busy. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And I wish you the best of luck in your grinding or in whatever you're going to do. And if you're trying to finish the event quickly, get that shit in, because there's only about like 3 days left. I know it says 2 days, but when it gets to the countdown of like 1 day, it will then hit 24 hours, and then that's how much you actually have left. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Till next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.